Greetings to the 12 tribes of the children of Israel scattered abroad, in the name of Jehovah our Creator and Jesus Christ of Nazareth, our King. My name is Lily of the Valley, and we're going to talk about Trump and Democrats, liberals, politics, democracy, and the Vybez cartel case, okay? Notice the loudness of the media when it comes to Trump. What happened to Trump happened to Jamaicans during FINSAC, SSL, and so on, and then it got swept under the rug. Nobody went to jail, so now it reached the bigger class. They did the same thing to me that they did to Trump. We took our cases all over the world. When you find out how crooked these judges are, we had to go to the Southern District of New York. Kamala Harris was she was the Attorney General in California. When we told her they were using fake documents to steal our mortgage and properties, Obama was in office. Did any other homeowners get any justice? To this day, they stole a couple $1 trillion from black Americans. So all of us are victims. They wonder why no matter what they do to Trump, people still behind him. They were doing it to us before. They stole our houses. There were so many old people. They did the reverse mortgage, steal them house from them, mortgage fraud, fake deeds, fake documents, fake notaries. You're going to see that was what happened in Jamaica under the PNP before they came to America with it. They've been going around doing the same thing. Now, in terms of Vybez cartel, we're going to look at what is the writ of Habeas Corpus, and also why the charges are still there. He's been charged for the murder of someone. The loudmouths don't ask what happened to the person who got killed. The people around Vybez cartel, how does he treat them? How does Vybez cartel treat himself? So the first law we need to look at is the laws of Jehovah concerning everything Vybez cartel is accused of. Should the guilty go free? That's one of the questions. Where is the person who got killed? What happened to that person? So the murder charges are still there. The quash, when they went to the Privy Council to appeal how the trial was held, I'm surprised the Privy Council didn't take into consideration that they all met and agreed to move forward with the case, even though they said there was tampering with the jury. So if they tampered with the jury or a juror, or they tried to bribe somebody, why didn't they bring all those charges? The thing with this case, if he wants a trial and he's gonna get a trial that dot every T and cross every I, the outcome may be 10 times worse. Because now they gotta make sure everything is done by the book. Okay? So it said the Supreme Court, Andrea Thomas, on Thursday threw out a habeas corpus application submitted by attorneys for dancehall artist Vybez cartel and two of his three co-accused, saying that their present custodial status is not in breach of the Constitution. The ruling was handed down at the court in downtown Kingston a few minutes before a jury in New York, United States, found former President Donald Trump guilty on each of the 34 counts of falsifying business records to hide a payment meant to silence porn star Stormy Daniels months before an election that could see him yet return to the White House. So this is where many people in the United States have a problem. Because you remember, many people got killed questioning this 2020 election. Many people got blown up. There are experienced poll workers in 2020. We see polls in Jamaica. We see ballot box stuffing. We see the votes counting stopped in the middle of the night. You can't even talk about that topic on YouTube or any of the main platforms. We saw leading up to many of these elections a certain U.S. president, and many of them are on Epstein's list. Lots of judges, they know the list. We don't see any charges, any indictments, no media blitz, nothing. We see a lot of body counts against another one, even the time with Paula Jones and so on, nothing. So many people died. So many places where the documents get blown up. We see during Bush time, no weapons of mass destruction, and the Pentagon blew up as soon as the audit was completed. We see 3 buildings go down on September 11, and only 2 planes crash. So a whole heap of things like that we see. We see somebody say they're male and female, but then other people come out and say this person has been in the SODM community. Don't know if him come from Africa, Indonesia, or wherever. And then everybody leading up to that election, suddenly DIED. Yeah. We seen the chef the other day that got drowned, and then so many chefs and people close to them getting killed. So people be like, they've been doing this to us. All the conservatives, the Christians, the people who protest against the abortion clinics. When you see the Antifa people burn down the country during Trump term, they let them out of jail free, but yet still you can't protest the election, and it's a constitutional right. If you think what you saw on election day was illegal. Then there's the laptop that was before the last election too, that the 51 intelligence agency was a fraud. Then there was the Russia collusion hoax, which turned out to be fraudulent. All these raids and so on. So they've been doing this to us. They set the IRS on people who preach the gospel. They don't want a righteous nation. They don't want nationalism. So that's why them can't fool nobody, because Latin America, them they don't use the CIA and them place there for coup people out of office. Yeah, so hold on. Okay, so it says common law functions as an adversarial system, a contest between two opposing parties before a judge who moderates. A jury of ordinary people without legal training decides on the factors of the case. The judge then determines the appropriate sentence based on the jury's verdict. Civil law, in contrast, is codified. Countries with civil law systems have comprehensive, continuously updated legal codes that specify all matters capable of being brought before a court, the applicable procedure, and the appropriate punishment for each offense. Such codes distinguish between different categories of law. Substantive law establishes which acts are subject to criminal or civil prosecution. Procedural law establishes how to determine whether a particular action constitutes a criminal act and penal law establishes the appropriate penalty. So we're going to look at a lot of that in the case of Mark Golden, the PNP, the JLP, because all these leaders, they realize what time it is. The people are tired. They can't keep putting the common man in jail while they get away with breaking the law that they are tasked with setting a good example for. So notice the Basilica of San Vitale, Ravenna, Italy. A lot of the civil law, the term civil law derives from the Latin aeo civile, the law applicable to all Roman cives or citizens. Okay? Their law wasn't as established as our law, because we descend from the patriarchs. Jehovah God wrote his law and tell us to teach it to our children in all our generations. That's why you see we grew up with the Bible in the schools, the prayers, the Psalms. If them even burn all of the Bible, them, the law is in our head. Him say write it on our doorposts, write it on our hearts. That's why, people call some of us walking Bibles, because the law is very important. And if you don't know the law, it's your parents and your schools and your nations and your leaders' duty to tell you the law. I don't remember ever learning anything about Jamaica Constitution in any school in Jamaica, but I did learn a lot of Bible laws. Okay. So, hold on again. So, there's also canon law, which has to do directly with the canon, the Bible canons. Okay. So a lot of things about marriage, inheritance, property, all of that thing is still in the scriptures. The authorized version of the Bible is the King James 1611 edition with the Apocrypha. You can also look at older Bibles, not the new things where you see the Tabernacles of Edom coming in like the NIV. Those are not real Bibles. Those are Bibles that they don't want people to know what the old books say. Like when, Solomon said, I'm black and comely. Or when it says their visage is blacker than a coal. Those are in the older Bibles, and they want to take that stuff out because they want to change the color of the children of Israel. So most of you Jamaicans, you'll see that the Norman conquest and before and after, a lot of you descend from these kings and queens in the Middle Ages. That's why we're called royal nations, holy priesthood. The Most High wants his children to have holy and righteous laws. So courts of law and courts of equity thus functioned separately until the writ system was abolished in the mid-19th century. Even today, however, some United States maintain separate courts of equity. Likewise, certain kinds of writs, such as warrants and subpoenas, still exist in the modern practice of common law. An example is the writ of Habeas Corpus, which protects the individual from unlawful detention. So in the VYBES cartel case, they made a writ to the court and say, hey, you holding my clients unlawfully. Based on the Privy Council ruling that sent the case back to the appeals court in Jamaica to rectify the things they complained that didn't happen during the trial, they then say, okay, even though they all agreed to move forward with the case, they took it to the Privy Council, they sent it back to the appeals court in Jamaica. So they filed this writ of habeas corpus and say, hey, you're holding our people illegally. Right? So originally, an order from the king obtained by a prisoner or on his behalf, a writ of habeas corpus, summoned the prisoner to court to determine whether he was being determined under lawful authority. Habeas corpus developed during the same period that produced the 1215 Magna Carta, or the Great Charter, or the Magna Charta, which declared certain individual liberties, one of the most famous being that a free man could not be imprisoned or punished without the judgment of his peers under the law of the land, thus establishing the right to a jury trial. Now, if you look at the Magna Charta or the Magna Carta, most of those names you see on there that signed it are our forefathers. Like my foreparents, a lot of you in Jamaica, especially in Maroon Country, you will see say most of your foreparents, right, the Magna Charta. Of your foreparents fight the Revolutionary War, the Crusades, all those king names we wanna have up there, and them weird names we wanna know where they come from. Yeah, but people used to laugh off on when school start. Where you get that the name the from, and yeah, a lot of those are royal names descended from the bloodline children of Jacob Israel. Yeah, those black empires that ruled Europe, the Holy Roman Empire, and so on. A lot of our forefathers had to flee persecution from these same Catholics, same Romans, same Ashkenazi, same Arabs, same Hindus, same mulattoes that are trying to take over Jamaica now. So, this is what happened in Cartel's case. First and foremost, you got to realize that they were already convicted for murdei. Them did get them right to the jury trial, and them said the jury trial never happened good, so they appeal it to the Privy Council. Privy Council say send it back to Jamaica, and Jamaica responsible for their legal fee. So if them want a real trial again, the appeals court are go do it, and them are go do it by the book, that every I, cross every T, every comma, every full stop, and it may be 10 times worse if they so decide to try it. You don't know, but that's where it's at. So they weren't being illegally detained. They were already prisoners as the judge ruled, because they are there. Yeah, so the question of the murder charges are still there hanging on them, and they were arrested, tried, and charged, and they're in jail for murder. So it's not like they were walking around free and the king just scooped them up and said I'm gonna hold them without bail or without bond or anything like that. They were in prison because a man lost his life. And then if you look at the scriptures, what is done when somebody commits murder? Their blood cries out from the ground. They can't speak for themselves, so it's the peers, the jury, the people, the court, the judges, the system, as to make sure that people who commit crimes and commit murder and forgery and fraud and usury and all those things and make false statements and rape little children and have pedophile islands and teach degeneracy, all those things are also against the laws of Jehovah. They have to be dealt with. And what happened when you selectively let the murderers go free? look how them send the scammers overseas, but they're big scammers in government, in the contracts, in business, and so on. If you have an unequal distribution of justice, it undermines the legal system, and people just start doing whatever they want, which is why you see Jamaica is so degenerate right now, and America and everywhere else. They have laws down there about people walking around naked. Do they enforce them? No. Because the men, they want to see those things. So we have to get back to holiness and righteousness. So that's what habeas corpus means. Okay? They weren't free when all of this went to the Privy Council. So they're not free now to just walk out of jail. Alright? I'm going to put the link to this in the description box. And also what is happening with Trump. The good thing about Trump and politicians now, they say, hey, they make such a, they call it now, witch hunt for Trump, that now all the Haiti cases, the Haitians want to know what happened to the Clinton Foundation and the money that they took. They want to know what happened to the Clinton hit list, all those planes going down with people leading up to the trial. They want to know about the hush money for Paula Jones. How about Joe Biden and the classified documents? The money for like offshore accounts, the incest, the shower with the daughter. They want to know about